Hello and welcome to Runkle of the Bailey. One case I've been following because I find it interesting is Ethan Klein and his lawsuit against several content creators as well as the H3Snark mods. Now, Ethan Klein runs H3 and his company is TED Entertainment Incorporated. And what happened here is that he created essentially a copyright trap. He made a video that he knew people would steal and he put it out there and then they stole it, and then he sued them. But not only that, they did it in the dumbest possible way because they were openly boasting about how their intention with stealing it was to deny him views and thereby to basically annihilate their own fair use defenses. So they really screwed that up, and it's been something to watch so far. Now, we've got a recent development, and that is that there's a stipulated dismissal against one of those content creators, that being Kaceytron. Now, I saw that stipulated dismissal and I immediately went, ooh, and I was like, I am so clever. I can read between the lines. I can see that this means she's flipped. So I recorded a whole video going, hey, this is my theory and I'm so clever. And then it turns out that she has also now put out a video that confirms that. So my whole I am so clever thing, well, I was right, but now I'm predicting the past and it doesn't really look clever. So, so now I'm re-recording the video. We're going to go through the stipulated dismissal and we're going to use this as a bit of an opportunity to talk about the benefits of settling. Because sometimes you can get things from settling that you wouldn't be able to get even from winning the lawsuit, even from like the most crushing win that's ever happened, where you just annihilate the other side. There's still some things you can't get that you might want. So let's have a look at this. Okay, here is the stipulated dismissal, and it's TED Entertainment Incorporated, that's Ethan Klein's company, versus Casey Cavanis, who is publicly known as Kaceytron, and does 1 through 10. Now, does 1 through 10 are the Reddit snark moderators, and they should be a little more worried than anyone else here. All right. So what they have here is that Ethan Klein and defendant Casey Cavanis, Kaceytron, through their undersigned counsel, hereby stipulate that this action be dismissed as against Kaceytron only, not as against the snark mods, without prejudice, and they request that the court retain jurisdiction to enforce the settlement between Klein and Kaceytron. And the reason why is because there's ongoing obligations specifically on Kaceytron. We're going to see that. So in further support of this stipulation, they state, so date of filing, date of answer, December 1st, they reached an agreement to settle. Settlement agreement, although confidential by its terms, it's confidential by its terms, but as you can see, or as you'll see in a minute, there's a whole lot of information we can learn. It includes a provision which remains to be performed. We're going to see what that is. Well, I can just tell you. It's that Kaceytron appears to have flipped. She is going to be cooperating with Ethan Klein, and she is going to be assisting him with respect to going after the H3Snark mods. So if you're one of the H3Snark mods, today is a good day to have some backup pants because they're coming after you real real hard. Ethan Klein appears to be real mad at the snark mods. And you might be saying, wait a minute, they're just Reddit moderators. How can they be in trouble? Well, the thing is that when people were talking about we're doing streams to deny Ethan Klein the views, the moderators appeared to be in full cooperation and support. So, whoops. So, thus, as part of the settlement agreement, Klein and Cavanis and Kaceytron agreed to stipulate to dismissal as set forth herein, but also to request that the court retain jurisdiction to enforce the terms of the settlement agreement. All right, so it has been dismissed without prejudice, which means it can still be brought back, and I suspect that the terms of the settlement are probably that it was dismissed without prejudice, but if she fails to cooperate, if she fails to do what she's supposed to, that then they can just bring it back as against her and proceed from there. So let's have a little look. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to, well, I'm going to watch the whole thing and then I'm going to probably cut bits out. But we've got Kaceytron's apology. Now, one of the things I want you to note as she does a public apology here is that it is very clear that this public apology is something that is required from the settlement and that it was reviewed by counsel. This is going to be pretty common when you've got a public apology, but it's pretty clear that she was given, like, they probably negotiated, but that she's got, like, exact language to read. And you can sort of infer that. And again, this is my inference here, but you can infer that from when you watch her. Her eyes are off screen. She appears to be reading from a page, like a script. And she gets dog walked through this. Like it's pretty bad. So let's have a look. Here we go. And if you're wondering, like, why is there the Windows Media Player stuff in there? That's actually in the original. That's in what was uploaded. So here we go.
And by stating I take responsibility for infringing the content nuke. I want to begin by stating I take responsibility for infringing the content nuke. The lawsuit was not.
So part of my suspicion here is that she may have pre-recorded this whole thing and sent it to Klein and his lawyers for them to review before she uploaded it. Because, you know, this went on Twitch, and Twitch is normally like a live presentation kind of thing, and here it's just roll tape. So it may be that this entire video was sent to them for their review and approval. That's, again, a guess, but it's a fairly educated guess here.
Not frivolous. When I said the lawsuit was frivolous and based on misogyny, it was to garner sympathy, protect my own reputation, and retaliate against the Kleins.
So one of the things you cannot get from a win is this kind of apology. And not only do they make her apologize, but they really dog walk her through everything. Like all of the allegations that she's made publicly, you know, she's got to eat crow. She's got to. And the thing is, it's probably the smart move for her to do this, because I don't think she had a great case and she was about to get just crushed. So here yeah.
This lawsuit has given me a greater understanding of copyright protection, people's copyrights, and the importance of protecting copyrights in the online content creation community. It is important for the entire content creation community to respect the intellectual property rights of other creators.
Now, you can get the sense that a lot of this is probably Klein's voice. He's like, stop stealing my stuff. And he's making her say, yeah, I screwed up. And yeah, I mean, one of the things that is kind of an issue in this whole lawsuit is the notion of like reaction streaming and so forth, because there's a difference between actually doing commentary. And, you know, one of the complaints I frequently see when I do commentary is just roll the full video, like roll it from beginning to end. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. You've got to actually offer something. And there's a lot of people online doing videos where they do like a reaction, and their reaction is basically they just roll the original thing, but their face is on screen. And that's probably not what the case law protects. The case law protects more sort of, you know, transformative commentary where you actually have thoughts that you're adding onto this. So, Kaceytron appears to be learning an expensive lesson, but she's probably going to end up okay. She appears to have made the smart call, which is pulling the ripcord and getting out of there. But it's bad news for the H3Snark mods. And, I mean, if they sort of thought that she was somebody to be trusted, maybe not so much, because when the going gets tough, she will sell them out.
And I will adhere to the lessons I've learned throughout this process going forward. I also want to make clear that I did not receive any support, financial or otherwise, from Hasan Piker.
This is another thing that Ethan Klein could not possibly have gotten as a result of winning the lawsuit, is to have Kaceytron like publicly dunking on Hasan Piker. Um, and the thing is I think that what she says here is honest. That's my interpretation of it, and it doesn't speak well for Piker. But honestly, I'm not a fan of Hasan Piker. I know there'll be some people in the comments going, "Why not?" And I mean, it's not the dog thing. I mean, the dog thing doesn't help, but it's other things. So I guess if you're really curious, hit me up on one of the live streams and, throw a super chat and I'll answer the question. But yeah, it's a whole topic.
Hasan never even reached out to me privately to offer words of support. Speaking honestly, I found his indifference to my suffering hurtful, especially after he hinted he might help me behind the scenes. It felt like,
Hey, I'm totally on her side. And with his hojillions of dollars, what does he do when she's in trouble for taking his side? Precisely nothing. Yeah, with friends like these,
he wanted to receive credit from the public for helping me without providing any. As to the GoFundMe money, to the extent there are any remaining funds after I pay my attorney's fees, I have agreed to pay the remaining funds to the Kleins. The funds will not go.
So this is for two purposes. One, Ethan Klein, I'm sure, wants to make sure that she doesn't profit from this, right? That she, from the infringement that was alleged, that she doesn't come out ahead. And so it's like, okay, now he is actually doing her a solid when he's like, okay, I'm going to let you pay your lawyers out of this, right? I don't want to financially flatten you. A lot of people don't like Ethan Klein. He's a controversial figure, but he is doing her a real solid by letting her back out here and doing so where he's like, yep, I will let you pay your lawyers out of that money. I don't want to crush you financially if you're doing the right thing and, taking responsibility and all of that. So he could have been a lot pettier. And I think a lot of people in his shoes would have been. So
to anyone else, including Denims or Frogan, to defend their lawsuits.
If Denims or Frogan want to get out of the lawsuit, they probably have to make their own hostage video just like this one.
For the record, I have agreed to cooperate with the Kleins in their litigation against the H3Snark mods for promoting my live stream.
That is, when they said that there's an ongoing term that has yet to be completed and that the court has to retain the authority to deal with, that'll be the term. And I thought I was so clever spotting that from the, from the filings. And then there's a public video where she just out and out says it. And I was like, all right. But yeah, H3Snark mods. Now is a good time to move to Mongolia to live in a forest or something, because yeah,
to the extent that I am able. I will offer my support, including testifying under oath to everything I have just stated, to help their cause. I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge.
I mean, he would have been able to get her under oath in the lawsuit, but getting her under oath as a cooperating witness is a great thing to get out of the settlement.
Other misconduct and bad behavior I have exhibited online. For example, weaponizing the death of Asmongold's mother was.
And again, he just gets to, this is the humiliation march that he gets to walk her through and gets to just, and he knows this is going to be clipped. She's got to know that this is going to be clipped. And, that people are going to say, well, anytime somebody wants to criticize her for bad behavior or whatever, they can pull this up and they can say, look, you're admitting to it. Again, This is the real advantage of a settlement sometimes, is you can get these things that you might really want. I mean, Ethan Klein is getting a big win here. And it may not be a big win in terms of like money, but I mean, let's be honest. Klein's got more money than I will ever see in my lifetime. And I suspect that he can spend more on like a dinner than I will spend on like a year's mortgage payments. So, um, money isn't really what's going to be motivating. And she probably doesn't have a whole lot of money for him to get at, like, if he gets a big judgment, he's probably not seeing a whole lot of money. And certainly not an amount of money that's going to change his life in any meaningful way. So, at the end of the day, him getting this is probably for him a bigger win than if he just got some big damages award. Because he gets to make her say things like this.
Inexcusable. I should know better because I have 3 disabled people that rely on me. Moving forward, I will do better. I also want to apologize to the crew of the H3 podcast, particularly AB and Olivia. I apologize for calling them cowards for not quitting their jobs. That was a shameful attack on 2 people who deeply care about Palestine and Palestinian people.
Also, kind of props to Klein for being like, okay, I'm gonna, not just am I going to, like, whatever, I'm gonna make sure she apologizes to my team. I mean, I know a lot of people find him to be a very controversial figure, and that's fair. You don't have to like him or whatever, but when you dislike somebody, you should still be fair to them in the sense of like looking at the things that they do that are not awful. And, somebody looking out for their team, for the, like, I guess the little people, if I can use that sort of phrase, is a good thing. Even if you hate the guy, you gotta respect that.
AB, along with his wife Lena, have done more than I have ever done for the Palestinian people, including raising over $100,000 in charity. I recognize that they
That is pretty awesome. Also, I will drop a link to the Extra Life fundraiser in the description below. I so far have raised a little over 108,000 US dollars for the Stollery Children's Hospital this year. So if you want to donate to that, that would be awesome.
have actually made Palestinian lives better, and my online antagonism and trolling has not. I apologize to Ethan and Gila personally.
He gets to basically make her undermine her entire career here. Yeah.
I have said extremely mean and cruel things about both of them, particularly my misogynistic attacks against Gila that never should have been said. I also want to acknowledge the pervasive problem of anti Semitism in leftist spaces. It should concern all of us. I condemn it and will not participate in it. To that end, I wish the Klein's success in enforcing TED Entertainment's copyright and protecting the legal rights of online content.
And that is, in fact, where it cuts out. It just cuts out like that. So, yeah. This is a big win for Klein. I mean, it's a big win for Kaceytron too. It's gonna suck that she had to put that video out there and she had to basically rebuke her entire previous career and eat a lot of crap. But at the end of the day, if she gets to walk out of this, and assuming there's no like financial, fee or like financial whatever outside from that, and I doubt there is, because if he's letting her pay her lawyers off and then return whatever's left, it sounds like he's not going after her like with a crushing financial settlement. I don't know, again, it's a guess, but that is me reading between the lines. So if he's letting her out of this on a fairly cheap basis, then it is a big win for Kaceytron and a big loss for the H3Snark mods. Because any information she has and she knows, and where she might be able to identify these people or provide some background, is going to be really bad for them. So, yeah. But, I mean, the other thing is, I guess Kaceytron probably isn't going to get trusted much in future if she's going to roll over on her friends. And, yeah. He also gets to get a shot in at Hasan Piker. So he really gets a little bit of everything he wants out of this one. And I mean, she is advantaged here if she gets out of this cheaply. So this is kind of the everyone wins settlement, although some people win more than others, which, you know, is not altogether surprising in a circumstance like this. But yeah, I had to completely re-record this video as a result of, like, you know, hey, I've predicted the past. So yeah, I guess I didn't cut anything out of that, but you know, you can. It's important to sort of see the context and to see the you know, see exactly what he's able to get out of that. Now, I'm wondering if he knows that it's been cut off at the end because, you know, they probably had an agreement that she's got to release the full video. So I suspect we might end up seeing in like another video go out where it's like, and here's the full video because whoops, my bad. Um, I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you found that to be interesting or educational. I certainly found it to be interesting. I guess what we'll see now is whether the other people being sued, you know, Frogan, etc., are going to equally seek out deals or whether they are in the soup. Because sometimes the first person to the deal gets the best deal and, you know, there may be less incentive for a deal from anyone else. It'll also be interesting if the other sort of not real, you know, the other people who are being sued ever had any discussions about that with Kaceytron. Because if they did, then those are coming in. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. So big day for Ethan Klein here. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you found this to be interesting or educational. As I said, I'm going to link my Patreon below. I'm also going to link the Extra Life if you want to donate there. I'm just being a little cheeky there, but I'll still link it. But I want to thank my Patreon supporters at the $50 level: Bottle Shock and Oz, Canada's National Firearms Association, the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, the Canadian Shooting Sports Association, PJs Forever, Kyle Fox, Angela Skelton, Purple Dragonair, Cielo, Shaby, and Johan/Phoenix. At the $20 level, Marvin CZ, Cameron Johnson, Larry Kalniak, Andrew Elsich, Mark, and Drunk All of the Baileys. Thank you as well to my $10 supporters who will be in the crawl immediately following. Thank you for watching. Hope this is armed with knowledge. See you next time.